Hello and welcome to the Ministry of the Real Truth. I am its host, and I recall making this website through wixsite.com quite a while back. I haven't really looked at it for a while, or added to it for a while, but I am planning to do so. So I made this little video so you can go have a look at it yourself. I'll leave the link to it down the bottom of this video. The Real Truth Congregation, which name I changed because it's too long. I changed it to the Ministry of the Real Truth because that's what we're all about. Bringing you the real truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the real truth. Okay, so the Ministry of the Real Truth New Zealand presents the Wool Unraveled. Here's our little logo, our little motto. The truth has no agenda. And there's a good looking picture of Ecclesiastes from the Bible. Okay, it's called the Wool Unraveled, your go-to source for the real truth. Welcome to the Wool Unraveled, the never before seen or experienced video blog that will pull apart the giant fixed puzzle known as Christianity with its distorted images and put it back together piece by piece in the correct order. It has additional information uncovered on the actual practices and observances used 2,000 years ago, which have been ignored by today's modernized Christianity. And here's a biblical verse to point to that. Okay. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. John 8:32. Add our little twist to that. Know the real truth, and that real truth will set you free or liberate you. Okay. Aramaic New Testament translated by Victor Alexander, aka the Disciples New Testament. They just got different covers. Here's our posts. The truth, it might just take a wrecking ball to your theology. My problem with the ancient text claims, etc. My problem, many of the statements or claims made and pushed out, told us as the truth, don't match historical or archaeological discoveries. Here's one of my sources, the Aramaic New Testament translated by Victor N. Alexander. Victor Nunglid Alexander, a native-born Aramaic-speaking translator, filmmaker, Mesopotamian historian with over 25 years experience in the field. The ancient Assyrian Aramaic, or Kitab Asherit, or Kitab Hotep, and Galilean Aramaic scriptures translated to English. It's a critique by a guy I befriended who did YouTube videos on it, Dylan Downs, at YouTube. The ancient Aramaic scriptures translated by Gabriel Roth, Andrew Gabriel Roth. I think he's a Messianic Jew or Christian. At the AramaicsScriptures.com. The website features the Holy Aramaic Scriptures as preserved in the ancient Eastern Aramaic Syriac Peshitta. He's translated that into English, and he's added the Syriac fonts and words. So if you want to study the Syriac, that's like a help guide. Okay, this is Barry Maguire. I really am inspired by his music. Really touches me, you know. Inspiration comes from the word alone. Yes, Christians will tell you this is true as well. I saw a Christian singer, songwriter Barry Maguire in New Zealand one time, a long time ago, at a free church concert he gave in, I believe it was Pekara. Yeah, at the time he looked a bit tired, haggard, had a bit of an attitude, but yeah, he's a lovely guy. I love his music. It's probably, besides Keith Green, it's probably the only Christian music that drives me, motivates me, you know, gives me that passion. The Eridu Genesis, Wikipedia. Sumerian creation myth. The earliest record of a Sumerian creation myth called the Eridu Genesis by, let's have a look at that one. Okay, there's a Mesopotamian winged disc icon called Elohim, meaning over the flames. Okay, not many people understand this in relation to the triune. They seem to think that it's the same concept as the Christian Trinity, but if you understand what the symbol means, then you see there is a difference, a vast difference. A lecture on the ancient Sumerian myth, the Epic of Gilgamesh, and that lecture was by Andrew George. Must be expert or curator or something in that field. Okay, here's this brings a problem in the belief systems. Okay, this is Maura Baglino, interviewed by Sarah White, I believe, an Italian author, essayist and translator. He's translated the Masoretic text into English, even though he speaks Italian, through a translator. His stories are revealed through a translator on this video. Okay, and he's discovered something that he was attacked on, but also he was supported on, because higher ups in these religious organisations see they don't come after him. They try threaten him and all that sort of stuff, because they know that he's telling the truth. That underneath what he found, because he's a supposedly expert in the Hebrew, Greek, Latin, obviously because he's Italian, and what he discovered, right? And he says, well, at some point in time, the truth is going to come to the surface. So why not now? So they're all behind him. Okay, the Saturday swindle, the true Sabbath claims. I have friends who are Seventh-day Adventists who state that the Sabbath is always on a Saturday, and it's right there in the Bible, yet there's some errors there. Okay, according to the book of Exodus, the Hebrew, the Aramaic, and a Seventh-day Adventist breakaway who state that it's all based on a lunar solar calendar, the Creator's calendar, not the Gregorian, and so forth. Okay, this is a little spiel on where does Allah from Islam come from. How does one stop sinning? There's a hint here. No one who abides in him, God, keeps on sinning. No one who keeps on sinning has either seen him or known him. 1 John 3:6. Okay. Important keys to the Bible, to understanding how to, why I shouldn't sin, how to stop sinning, etc. Here's our intro. So I try to put these in order, but the site doesn't really do that much. Intro. Welcome to the Wool Unraveled. I see Christianity is one giant ball of tangled wool. It needs to be unraveled. It needs to be unraveled and all knots undone, freeing it from the woolly mess, etc. etc. Okay, in the beginning, the very beginning, around 5000 BC to the dawn of civilization. It's a video on YouTube that actually asked the guy to comment, is this really close to Bernard Grune's or Werner Stein's third edition of the Timetables of History? And he says yes, that's basically what it's based on. Here's a little inspiration for you, walking the path of righteousness. Here's secret instructions of the Jesuit order, keys within the scriptures. We as Christians are all subject to sin. We are prone, we are tempted, and we fall. What exactly is sin? The word derives from, etc. etc. Study and relate your experiences to the holy text. I like to relate an experience I had many years ago. I was residing in a church owned and run Christian boarding house, and my story follows there. Okay, there are angels among us. Okay. So I've got a few views. Right, I haven't really advertised it much. I've still got to work on it, so shall we have a look at some of that? Just have a quick peek. This is going in. Okay, you have to log in, I guess. Okay, can't really do that today, I suppose. And some, okay, maybe it's going to show us. Is it? Yeah, cool. I don't have to log in. Okay, okay. Now this is why I created my YouTube channel, the Ministry of the Real Truth, because I had a problem with the modern Americanized Bible versions, be they ESV, Amplified, King James. Who speaks Shakespearean these days? Who fully understands it? Okay. Nobody speaks Shakespearean that I know of. Okay. So my problem with these texts, these claims, my problem, many of the statements or claims made and pushed or sold as the truth don't match historical or archaeological records or evidence, are not established facts. There's no or a lack of proof, and much as heresy, conjecture, fluff, hype, outright lies, fabrications by men, possibly with a hidden agenda or with a financial motive. There is a boatload of available information online in books, documentaries, etc. But many are disinformation, misinformation, myths, half-truths, plagiarized that defy common sense, logic, and are not based in reality. It's very hard to wade through all the crap to get through the truth, or get to the truth. As once you think you have it, someone comes along and debunks it, or debunks you. Sometimes you are attacked, ridiculed, threatened, etc. because you are too close to the truth. For some, many suggest get the irrefutable evidence from top scholars, many with PhDs and letters after their names, as they're the experts, as they have all the years of research experience and are renowned, so can be trusted. I disagree. Not all are honest after they get their PhDs, so use and rely on your discernment, that inner gut instinct or feeling. Do your own personal research and study, and relate that to your experiences. Relate your experiences to that. That's what it is, or that's what it's there for. Learn how to establish a fact, or facts, or the claim facts as facts by establishing them as fact. Irrefutable facts. Get proof. Get irrefutable evidence. Let the evidence speak for itself. Don't have an opinion unless it's fact, and try to keep your personal bias, prejudice, and refrain from adding your own twist or flavour to data where you can. Tell it like it really is by keeping it real. Had a video there, but I think it's been taken down, or something's happened to it. Okay, I have to update it. Okay, there's a link to sacredtext.com, and states, this is, I think it's Budge, Wallace Budge actually said this. The pyramid text, this is in relation to the Egyptian text. The pyramid text were funeral inscriptions that were written on the walls of the early ancient Egyptian pyramids at Saqqara. These date back to the 5th and 6th centuries, dynasty, approximately the years 2350 to 2175 BCE. However, because of extensive internal evidence, it is believed that they were composed much earlier, around 3000 BCE. The pyramid texts are therefore essentially the oldest sacred texts known. Okay, someone said to me, oh, and that's Hammurabi. So, well, those were a different lot of texts, and they were laws. Okay, maybe you had some receipts in there somewhere. Go do your personal research on that. Samuel Mercer was the first religious text. Samuel Mercer was the first to produce a complete English translation of this mysterious text in 1952. This was also the first complete translation in any language. The Mercer translation was followed by the R.A. Faulkner translation in 1969, which is considered the standard today. However, this does not diminish the usefulness of Mercer's version, particularly because it has fallen into the public domain and is now available freely on here at sacredtext.com. The first complete version of the pyramid text on the internet. Okay, I think this might have not been Wallace Budge, it might have been Mercer saying this. But I remember Wallace Budge on that site saying that they're the earliest or the oldest, something like that, texts, religious texts. Okay, there's the logo there. The truth might just take a wrecking ball to your theology. This will, I believe this will. Okay, the ancient Asherah. So it goes there. This is one of my sources of the New Testament. The ancient Assyrian, Aramaic and Galilean Aramaic scriptures translated into English. Okay, there's a critique by Dylan Downs that I've befriended. Okay, Victor N. Alexander's translation of the original Aramaic scriptures from the original Aramaic Church of the East, or the Apostolic Orthodox Christian Catholicos Church of the East. Victor Alexander is a naive, this is what Dylan Downs is saying, Victor Alexander is a naive Aramaic speaker who has mastered the more ancient form of the Syriac Aramaic dialect. His translation is fitly named, as unlike most translations, it is not translated from Greek but Aramaic, the language of Jesus, or as Alexander transliterates Yahshua. His translation, which means Joshua in English, the equivalent is Joshua in English, his translation is unique among the other translations of the Aramaic Peshitta, as it is not a literal translation but a more dynamic one. He's actually incorrect there. It's not a translation of the Aramaic Peshitta or the Syriac Peshitta, which he was saying on his website comments that that's what he was going to do. But then things changed and you realise, okay, it's not from that's not the original. It's the Kitab Asherah, the Aramaic, Assyrian Aramaic. So he started all over again. Okay. And he bought a copy of the biblical format of those original manuscripts from the high priest of the original church, and that's what he reads from on his video. The Aramaic translation, Aramaic scriptures, Adam and erroneously put Adam and Eve, which should be Adam and Eve, on YouTube. Yeah, that's what he's reading from in that language, because he's a translator, native born Mesopotamian Aramaic speaker, filmmaker, translator, Mesopotamian historian, etc., etc., with over 25 years experience. Victor Alexander is a native Aramaic speaker who has mastered the more ancient form of the Syriac Aramaic dialect, because Syriac is a modern dialect of the original Aramaic, the Asherah. His translation is fitly named, as unlike most translations, is not translated from Greek but Aramaic, the language of Jesus, or as Alexander transliterates Yahshua. His translation is unique among the other translations, as it is not a literal translation but a more dynamic one. Alexander transliterates the Syriac name for Jesus, Yod Shin Wa Ayin, as Yahshua, which is the pronunciation of the modern Aramaic speakers. Okay. It's actually from the Assyrian Aramaic. There is no Assyrian Aramaic, it's only Assyrian. Okay. Aramaic was brought into the Mesopotamian region by migrants. Okay. He translates the Aramaic Meshika as Messiah, closer to the original Aramaic title than Greek Christ. But it's acceptable because he's the anointed one. Greek means oil, etc., etc. Alexander's translation is very easy to read, and the footnotes show Aramaic idioms in the more literal form at the end of each chapter and frequently explain his translation choices. My reply to Dylan Downs: studying Victor Alexander's website, now down, be down for a while, va.com, for a while, and communicating with him via email, asking many questions of him, and also giving him links to other Aramaic scripture-based videos and claims. I can verify he did translate the entire Old Testament and completed it using the Syriac, but was later asked why, when informed by an Aramaic priest of that original church, why, when it was originally in Assyrian Aramaic or Kitab Asherah. So he stated he'd have to start all over again, and being about 60ish and not so well, he'd probably never complete it, but is confident that someone else would probably pick up from where he left off. just in case he passed, if he passed. So I suggested to him, oh, would you sort of learn Aramaic to do that for you? Because he's a kind older gentleman. He said, no, Aramaic for the Western thinker, for the Western person, is very, very hard to grasp. So just trust his translation, because he's done it in English. It's close to the original scriptures and the English that he possibly can, without his bias, adding his bias, prejudice, twist or own flavour to it, right? So he stated he'd have to start all over again, and being about 60 years and not so well, he'd probably never complete it, but is confident that someone else would probably pick up from where he'd left off and complete it. I found him to be a very nice mannered man in his email replies, even though I personally can't ask too many questions or present him with many strange things Aramaic based I have found online. I've also read but never purchased Gabriel Ross AENT Aramaic English New Testament online, and it appears he also got hold of the same ancient manuscripts from the ancient Church of the East, but in the Syriac you bypass the Western Peshitta, Latin Vulgate, etc. Right. Yes, sometimes V. Alexander uses triune. When the word Trinity, then the word Trinity, and I have found some spelling mistakes. He has stated he doesn't care what others say about his and translation of the Aramaic, as he's a native born Mesopotamian speaker, translator, and he's about translating the text in English as best as he can without bias or adding his own spin on it. Dylan Downs on YouTube has made these same comments, and through his own admission, he doesn't speak fluent Aramaic. There you go. Neither do I. But I have him as like a friend and a mentor, and he's recently subscribed to my YouTube channel. Okay. Yet it sounds like Dylan Downs knows the language better than Victor. I like Victor's translation as well as Roth's, and also like that Dylan Downs. Yeah, he's quite a funny guy, eating chips while he's explaining it, munching on the chips. Yeah, humorous guy. So he at first translated the Old Testament using the Syriac, then realizing it was originally the Assyrian or Syrian Aramaic, as I stated. He translated all using the Syrian Aramaic, or a northern Iranian dialect of Aramaic. Therefore, I disagree with Dylan Downs' statement. There's the video there, Adam and Even, there's a mistake there, should be Adam and Eve. I discovered Victor's website online quite by accident, and his pre-Adamic Neanderthal man theory. I read it and laughed. I somehow stumbled across his website many months later, emailed him and stated I'd come across a funny theory. Then it dawned on me I was laughing at him. Didn't seem to have any bad reaction to that. I then read that he stated when he first translated the book of Genesis, Bereshit, or Brita actually, Bereshit in Hebrew, he was shocked to find that the ancient text spoke of a pre-Adamic man, or Neanderthal man. So he agreed with the scientific discoveries, unlike evolution that isn't consistent and changes several times. Yeah, this verse from Genesis 1 to 2, comparing with John 1, 1 to 2, or 1 to 4. Yeah. As I had the belief that Jesus never said or claimed to be God, but sometime later I realized that this verse in the Aramaic is stating that he is indeed God. In confronting Victor, I confronted Victor with this, and he verified Jesus as God, and then I had a very funny way of looking at Jesus. Well, I thought, okay, but if you translate something of Eastern origins into English, having a Western mindset, I'm going to see it in English and use that mindset to interpret its meaning and come to the conclusion or illusion that I understand it because of that, or that Jesus is a God, etc., etc., for various reasons. I have learned over time to adopt an Eastern mindset in order to understand the text better, and also the idioms used. One professor has stated, if you don't know the ancient languages and the idioms used, you don't know the Bible as well as you claim you do. By trying to interpret an Eastern text written by people with an Eastern mindset, using a Western mindset is as oil and water. It just doesn't gel. Okay. And that's why you get confused. Okay, because these idioms, they appear to be saying something when they really aren't. It's a weird kind of Eastern way of thinking, way of thought, and coming across, expressing themselves. Right? Yeah, yeah. This one I'm Barry McGuire. Okay, I'm really influenced by his. I really like his music. Okay, and there's plenty more there. Okay, I think I'll end it there. You can come and have a look at this website yourself. I shall put the link to it at the bottom of this video. Maybe you would like to become part of this. Okay. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. Add your comments below, give us a thumbs up. Set that bell so you don't miss out on any of our videos we're bringing to you. And then go tell all your friends, neighbours, strangers, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, etc. That this is wow, at last somebody is trying to tell us, or going to reveal to us, the real truth, you know, because we've all been told and sold a bunch of lies by a certain organised religion and church through their Americanized modern versions, full of corruptions, contradictions, etc., and their lies.